This is Coach Big C, and you're listening to the Mohawk Valley Sports Watch on WKEL 1450.
Welcome back to the Mohawk Valley Sports Watch. Thanks for making us part of your Sunday mornings. I'm going to go right to the phone line. I don't want to keep Coach Langel holding anymore, so let's go to Coach and talk some Colgate men's basketball. Let's go to the phone line. Hey, Coach, how are you this morning?
Doing great.
Awesome. Thanks for taking the time to come on this morning. We appreciate it as always.
No, thanks for having me.
So, Coach, when I talk Colgate football or basketball, one of the things that I always talk about is the non-conference schedule. And, being a Fordham guy, I always would brag about the Patriot League and in your conference and say, you guys aren't scared to go out and play anybody. And I looked this year, you guys had a brutal non-conference schedule. Talk about that if you can.
Yeah, well, it's twofold. One, I think that our program has gotten to a point where, we've been in 4 championship games the last 4 seasons, the first time ever in the Patriot League. And so we've positioned ourselves to be competitive. And in that, I think you want to continue to push the envelope. So part of that non-conference schedule playing the teams that we did was to challenge our veteran group. And then the other part, in just real honesty, is we couldn't find a lot of teams that were willing to play. Scheduling is hard as it is to find agreeable dates, and we just a lot of programs out there just didn't want to play us and certainly didn't want to come to Hamilton. So, we ended up playing a lot of very competitive teams in their conferences, be it Northeastern or Harvard or Vermont, and had to start a lot of those games on the road, in addition to the likes of, Syracuse and NC State and St. John's and at Pitt, those a little bit higher caliber games that you try and get for your guys.
And Coach, talk a little bit about too, because obviously that helps in the recruiting trail. If a kid from high school comes in and says, "Geez, I can play at NC State, I can play at the Carrier Dome," and some of these teams in some of these schools, talk about that and how it helps recruiting.
Well, I think part of it is we want to recruit guys who want to test themselves, who have dreams of playing at the highest levels, and want those experiences. The other thing we try and do is couple it, like we have Nelly Cummings, who's having a great season for us, and he's from Pittsburgh, so we try and couple it with getting them back home, because we have guys from all over the country to play in front of their friends and family. And so, yeah, I hope that, when young people are looking at our program, if it's going to be a good fit, that they want that challenge. They want that chance to go and, play in an ACC or Big East environment. And it helps when we're able to, like we beat Syracuse this year, we beat Cincinnati at Cincinnati a few years ago, to be able to, not just play those games, but be competitive in them, is something that I hope really helps us in recruiting.
And, Coach, talk about some of your players. You mentioned, Nelly Cummings is leading your team in scoring, but you also have 2,000-point scorers on your team, which is pretty impressive. Talk a little bit about Nelly, and then if you can talk briefly on Jack and Tucker, too.
Yeah, Nelly's a terrific player. He came to us after one season at Bowling Green University. He just, after a year there, he played in all the games in his freshman year, and I think he just decided it wasn't the right fit for him. He's done well academically here. He could have graduated and gone on to, probably play at a different school, but, was very committed to what he'd helped build here and continuing to try and accomplish that here. He scored. He can, play make. He's got the ball in his hands with the departure of Jordan Burns after last season a little bit more than he has, and I think he's showing everybody what he's capable of. Jack and Tucker are the 2 most recent guys to score 1,000 points, and I think that I was joking in the locker room that if you play for a coach who plays you long enough, early enough in your career, 1,000 points is almost a given. But jokes aside, they're 2 really good basketball players who have worked hard on their game, who have been a part of winning teams and championship teams. And to be honest with you, they could have scored more points by this point in their career. But they're team first guys. Jack Ferguson came off the bench for his first 3.5 seasons with us, but that half season being the COVID year. And they've just done everything they're asked to do to help their team win, and we're really lucky to have those 3 guys for sure.
And, Coach, when you look at your league this year, it's a pretty competitive league at the top there with Army, Loyola, and Lehigh and yourself, and even Navy's having a better season this year, and Boston's there as well. I always say that the Patriot League is a tough conference in basketball, and I think when you get the Patriot League team that, it's too bad that it's not in that large conference, but the Patriot League championship winner is always a tough out in the NCAA tournament.
I do think our league is competitive. Like Lafayette, who's not even, at the top of the league standings, they haven't had a chance to play as many games. They beat Rutgers at Rutgers, and Navy beat Virginia at Virginia, and even a non-high-profile team like Furman, they beat Furman, who's a really terrific program. So, yeah, I think we have a number of non-conference wins. Boston University went on the road, and I think took Florida State to overtime. So certainly competitive, and then very competitive within the conference. I mean, on any given day. I was just watching the games yesterday. We happened to not be playing. And they were all kind of down to the wire games, whether it was overtime or, comebacks or just, one or two possession games. I think that's what our league is. And, everybody's fighting tooth and nail for position for that Patriot League tournament. Like you said, it's a one big conference, and you've got to, the top seeds get home court advantage, which is a big deal as you're trying to, represent the conference in NCAA tournament play.
And Coach, coming off the NCAA tournament, last year, and seems like everybody's always coming after you guys because you guys have played so well, and always seem like you're right there in the mix every year. How much is that NCAA tournament game, against Arkansas getting in? You guys had the great season last year in the shortened season. How much has that helped this team? Because you have a lot of upperclassmen on this roster.
Yeah, I don't know. At this point in the year, I think what this group has learned is just what you said, that when you have represented the conference, when you have played the likes of Arkansas, or a few years before that Tennessee, and done well, in some senses you're getting everybody's best shot. So they're very ready for you. They're excited to play, and I think as far as those experiences of playing in those tournaments and in those games, I think they help us, probably just as much in the Syracuse game this year as it does to play against Loyola. Conference play is a different animal, and you've just got to be ready for whatever you're going to face, however the game is going to go that specific day.
Coach, I just wanted to ask you two last question. Was the Syracuse win, great win for the program, but being right here locally in the area, how big was it, and how happy? Better yet, let me just say this: how was the celebration in the locker room after the Syracuse win?
Well, I mean, it was you spoke to the experience and the veteran leadership of our team. That was one of their goals, not necessarily just to beat Syracuse, but to be very competitive in those ACC Big East games that we were going to play, and put our best foot forward. So for them, to see the joy on their face, to see that them get to have that experience, to celebrate something that hadn't happened in 50-plus years, and represent their alumni and their school and, all those who come before them, was pretty neat to see them be able to celebrate. And, I'm okay with getting doused with water in those situations.
Well, Coach, we love having you on the show, and you've always been kind enough to come on when I've reached out, so we appreciate that. And I love following Colgate sports in general, and I'm actually going to bring my 10-year-old son. We're going to be at the game tomorrow night, so we're excited to come watch you guys.
Oh, that's terrific. We need all the support we can get. Again, times are tough and circumstances are strange, but our guys play a great brand of basketball. The more people that can come out and support, I think you're right on the floor there. It's a great experience to come to Cotterell Court.
Well, we're excited, Coach. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming on today.
All right, guys. Take care.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
I was going to ask him about the SUNY Poly game, but seeing that's my alma mater, I was going to say thanks for taking it easy, 97-50.
Well, I mean,
I thought they did take it easy. I watched that game.
Have you ever been there to see a game at Colgate?
I have.
Have you seen a hoop game there? You have?
Yeah.
It's a nice arena to go watch a game at, and it's a CBS game.
Yeah, it's they played the conference tournament there a couple years. They lost to Boston, I believe.
Yeah, they lost 64-61.